All right, fifth grade, Mr. Krug coming back at you for the next stage of plotting out our wintertime sky. Let's raise it, everybody. Ooh, 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 ooh. There we go. Now we're ready. So, things I have out on my desk to get ready to do this. Number one, this might look familiar to you. I've got our amazing coloring sheet from Chet Ramo, 365 Starry Nights from last time. Number two, I've got our brand new star charts. Yours is either going to see SC001 or SC001. You don't want the T chart yet. Not yet. That's going to be next. We're only going to use the 01 chart for this session. And then either your teacher made you a copy of this hot constellation action here, or he or she might just be showing it up on your whiteboard. We've got our list. So what we're going to be doing, everybody, is plotting out the wintertime sky. And we're going to trace out our constellations and maybe, just maybe, highlight our stars as well. So I've got my whole armada of colored pencils from last time. But this time, fifth grade, all we really need is two. So take a minute right now to pick your two favorite colored pencils. All right. This time, I'm just going to be a man of the people and use a regular ruler. Last time, I used my really amazing fancy astronomy ruler, and I think that probably intimidated some people. Some students were a little bit jealous. I got some heat on social media for it. So now I'm coming right back to my roots using a regular ruler just like all of you. You don't need to use a ruler, but if you want to look a little bit fancy, you might want to do that. And we just put our pinky up like that, like we're British and we're very, very fancy. So let's get started, fifth grade. I like to have this on my desk as a guide. And then we're looking right here at our vocab sheet. So number one, everybody, let's all say it together. Most dominant constellation on the winter skies. It's our hunter. Everybody, Orion. Nice, fifth grade. So let's start plotting. I think what I'm going to do for a nice wintry vibe, I'm just going to use a blue colored pencil, and I'm just going to trace over it. So let's remember from last time, Orion was lots of things to lots of different people, but to the Greeks, he was a mighty hunter. So we've got 3 stars representing his belt, 2 for his shoulders, 2 for his feet, and then you're going to notice on this one, notice, everybody, we didn't have it on 365 Starry Nights, but we've got the dimmer stars highlighted as well. We've got Orion's club arm and his shield as well, which he's holding as he battles the great bull of Taurus. So let's go ahead and trace in Orion the Hunter. By the way, on these charts, fifth grade, if you look right here, we have what's called a key. A key is on any map. It just shows you what you're going to be looking at. And for the key, the fancy word in astronomy for brightness is called magnitudes. And magnitudes are kind of silly. They work backwards. The brightest stars in the sky, like the dog star Sirius, have a magnitude of -2. And then the dimmest ones we can see just with our naked eye. And by the way, I'm sure you're laughing right now, but when I say naked eye, that doesn't mean anything bad, fifth grade. It just means no binoculars or telescopes needed, just your regular eyeballs. We can see down to about a 6. So we've got some dimmer stars in Orion's club arm and shield that you can just see. Okay, another thing that I like to do just to kind of help out when I'm studying, I like to take my first color and highlight the name to keep it separate from all the other constellations on here. And then with my second color, let's see, I'm going to go with orange. My second color, let's highlight the stars and objects that we need to know in Orion. So you might remember from our visit, we had Betelgeuse, the armpit of the mighty one, then the blue supergiant Rigel on the hunter's foot, and our little stellar nursery where baby stars are being born, M42. So watch me, fifth grade, then you all do the same. We're going to highlight Betelgeuse there. We're going to highlight Rigel. And then M42 is the tricky one to find. It's right here in the hunter's sword. That's our Orion Nebula where baby stars are being born. Now notice, not all these stars are orange. Betelgeuse is reddish orange. Rigel, we learned last time, is blue. If you want to go super, super fancy, you can do that. But we're just keeping it simple today. We're going 2 colors. So get a good look. That's how Orion should look for you. Okay, let's go up to the Great Bull of Taurus, everybody. So Taurus and Orion are classically pictured as doing battle on the sky. So we've got the bull's fearsome sharp horns towering over our hunter. And then his body is really quite minimal. It's just a single line. So overall 5th grade, it kind of looks like a tuning fork shape on the sky. Now, the Pleiades star cluster is part of Taurus. That's the only thing that really strains our imagination with our bull shape right there. I don't know whether you want to pretend this is part of the bull's body. However you want to do it, we just need to add that line to remind us that the Pleiades are a part of Taurus. So let's go ahead with our first color. I'm using blue, but you can use whatever you want. And let's just shade in the word Taurus. That makes it real nice. And then let's look back at our sheet. Just like Orion had 3 things, Taurus does as well. We've got our reddish eye of the bull Aldebaran, then our 2, count them, 2 beautiful star clusters. We've got the V-shaped Hyades at the bull's face, and then we call them the 7 sisters. The Japanese know them as Subaru. We've got our Pleiades. So let's take our second color, and let's highlight Aldebaran. Neat thing about Aldebaran, everybody, it looks like it's part of this V shape, but remember, our night sky is basically flat and 2-dimensional, representing stars in 3-dimensional outer space. Ooh, it's kind of like a dance move. Ooh, 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 ooh. And so Aldebaran is actually much, much closer to us than the rest of this V-shaped Hyades. Now, my high school students always spot this. It doesn't actually say Hyades anywhere on your star chart. Isn't that a shame? So I'm going to go crazy, and I'm just going to write in Hyades. If you want to write it with me, that's awesome. Hyades. H-Y-A-D-E-S. Hyades. And finally, 5th grade, let's highlight our beautiful little Pleiades star cluster up here. Sadly, to the regret of the Hyades, always stealing some of its aura because the Pleiades are just so beautiful. People overlook the Hyades. Okay, so we've got Orion the Hunter with 3 things inside it, and we've got Taurus the Bull with 3 things inside of it. The rest of the winter sky, I think we're going to find pretty easy. So we've done Orion and Taurus. Next up, everybody, we have our charioteer, our guy driving the chariot, and that's Orija. Now, notice something funny, 5th grade. Taurus's top horn and the charioteer actually connect together at that star right there. However, as we start to trace Orija, just a little background for you here. It's impossible in astronomy for one star to be a part of 2 different constellations. So all these stick figures that we see here, 5th grade, are just informal shapes on the sky. Depending on the book you look in, the stick figures might even look a little bit different. So even though that star right there with a fancy little letter B for the Greek beta looks like it's part of both, it's actually just part of one of the 2 constellations. Now, here's the one tricky thing. When you visited me in the planetarium, it just shows this circle for Orija, which I like better. It reminds me of a lumpy chariot wheel. But this point is actually part of it too. And it goes right along this line here of what in astronomy is called right ascension. So it's tough to see that line, but you can color that in right there as well. Okay. So let's use our first color. I'm using blue to color in the constellation name Orija. And then the only thing we need to know in Orija, everybody, is our mommy goat star Capella. And she is right there. Now, if you do remember, we did learn a tiny little asterism in class called the kids. If you're wondering, those baby goats, that cute little triangle is right there. So if you really want to go crazy and go wild, you can trace in that little triangle. Those are the baby goats, and they're called the kids. Okay. All right, let's take a quick break. So far, we've done Orion, Taurus, and Orija. Take this time to get all caught up, and then when we resume, we'll finish up the rest of the wintertime sky.